Section 3 of Little Masterpieces of American Wit and Humour, Volume 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Lynn Thompson. Little Masterpieces of American Wit and Humour, Volume 2. Edited by Thomas Lansing Masson. Section 3. Dislikes, by Oliver Wendell Holmes. I want it to be understood that I consider that a certain number of persons are at liberty to dislike me peremptorily, without showing cause, and that they give no offence whatever in so doing. If I did not cheerfully acquiesce in this sentiment toward myself on the part of others, I should not feel at liberty to indulge my own aversions. I try to cultivate a Christian feeling to all my fellow creatures, but inasmuch as I must also respect truth and honesty, I confess to myself a certain number of inalienable dislikes and prejudices, some of which may possibly be shared by others. Some of these are purely instinctive. For others I can assign a reason. Our likes and dislikes play so important a part in the order of things, that it is as well to see on what they are founded. There are persons I meet occasionally who are too intelligent by half for my liking. They know my thoughts beforehand, and tell me what I was going to say. Of course they are masters of all my knowledge, and a good deal besides; have read all the books I have read, and in later editions; have had all the experiences I have been through, and more too. In my private opinion, every mother's son of them will lie at any time rather than confess ignorance. I have a kind of dread, rather than hatred, of persons with a large excess of vitality, great feeders, great laughers, great story–tellers, who come sweeping over their company with a huge tidal wave of animal spirits and boisterous merriment. I have pretty good spirits myself, and enjoy a little mild pleasantry, but I am oppressed and extinguished by these great lusty noisy creatures, and feel as if I were a mute at a funeral when they get into full blast. I cannot get along much better with those drooping, languid people, whose vitality falls short as much as that of the others is in excess. I have not life enough for two. I wish I had. It is not very enlivening to meet a fellow creature whose expression and accents say, "You are the hair that breaks the camel's back of my endurance. You are the last drop that makes my cup of woe run over." Persons whose heads drop on one side like those of toothless infants, whose voices recall the tones in which our old snuffling choir used to wail out the verse of "Life is the time to serve the Lord." There is another style which does not captivate me. I recognize an attempt at the grand manner, now and then, in persons who are well enough in their way, but of no particular importance, socially or otherwise. Some family tradition of wealth or distinction is apt to be at the bottom of it, and it survives all the advantages that used to set it off. I like family pride as well as my neighbours, and respect the high–born fellow–citizen whose progenitors have not worked in their shirt–sleeves for the last 2 generations full as much as I ought to. But grand–père oblige, a person with a known grandfather is too distinguished to find it necessary to put on airs. A few royal princes I have happened to know were very easy people to get along with, and had not half the social neat action I have often seen in the collapsed dowagers, who lifted their eyebrows at me in my earlier years. My heart does not warm as it should do toward the persons, not intimates, who are always too glad to see me when we meet by accident, and discover all at once that they have a vast deal to unbosom themselves to me. There is one blameless person whom I cannot love, and have no excuse for hating. It is the innocent fellow creature, otherwise inoffensive to me, whom I find I have involuntarily joined on turning a corner. I suppose the Mississippi, which was flowing quietly along, minding its own business, hates the Missouri for coming into it all at once with its muddy stream. I suppose the Missouri in like manner hates the Mississippi for diluting with its limpid but insipid current the rich reminiscences of the varied soils through which its own stream has wandered. I will not compare myself to the clear or the turbid current, but I will own that my heart sinks when I find all of a sudden I am in for a corner confluence, and I cease loving my neighbor as myself until I can get away from him. The Poet at the Breakfast Table. An Illinois boy was asked to write an essay on Masonry, and here is what he wrote. King Solomon was a man who lived so many years in the country that he was the whole push. He was an awfully wise man, and one day 2 women came to him, each holding to the leg of a baby, and nearly pulling it in 2, and each claiming it. And King Solomon wasn't feeling right good, and he said, why couldn't the brat have been twins and stopped this bother? And then he called for his machete, and was going to Wailerize the poor innocent little baby, and give each woman a piece of it, when the real mother of the baby said, stop, Solomon, stay thy hand. Let the old hag have it. If I can't have the whole baby, I won't have any. Then Solomon told her to take the baby and go home and wash its face, for he knew it was hers. He told the other woman to go chase herself. King Solomon built Solomon's temple, and was the father of masons. He had 700 wives and 300 lady friends, and that's why there are so many masons in the world. My papa says King Solomon was a warm member, and I think he was hot stuff myself. That is all I know about King Solomon. End of section 3.